Alright, we're back for part 2. New World. I love this. I, when it comes to the construction, it matters when they put the band for the glue not to seep in and get stuck to the wrapper, because then when you take it off, it'll rip it. So what I do is I just try to slide it, and as you can see, I've just been sliding it up and up and up to the point where I could just slide it right off, which means they put it on perfectly, which is a nice touch. And the ash fell. I wish I could have shown you guys, but it was easy like this, 3 inches, easily, straight as an arrow, nice and white. I get how nice it looks for the white ash, but there's delicious, perfect, amazing cigars that don't have white ash, but people love that, and they're saying, oh, look how white the ash is. But for you guys to know, it was nice and white, super straight, and it was easily 3 inches long before it fell. I always let it fall by itself. And flavor wise, almost done with the second third. As you can see, it got stronger in a good way, in that the flavors got stronger, not the body so much. The wood got even stronger. The pepper kicked up a tiny bit, not so much in potency, but in it being there, if that makes sense. Like it didn't just meld away. You're constantly, it's there to remind you, but it's not enough that if you hate pepper, you won't like it. Like I said, I do not like pepper, and for me, so far, this is an excellent cigar. I would definitely smoke this again, and for the price, I'd probably even buy a box. It's a very enjoyable cigar. I like it very much. For examples of a woody cigar, if you're trying to build your palate, or if that's a flavor you like, right here, this is wood, beginning to end so far. Very strong, a dry cedar, and very obvious, very nice, like a nice dry cedar wood. Tiny bit of black pepper in the background. And now that it opened up, both in the smoke, I'm getting a lot thicker, more smoke, more voluminous, and I am getting a bit of that coffee. But you got to keep in mind, it's not what you probably think. It's not so much artificial, drive-through coffee with a ton of sugar and milk. When they say coffee, they mean, either the unprocessed coffee, the bean itself, that's a tiny bit bitter, just like a dark chocolate that's not full of sugar and milk. It has the natural flavor and aroma of it. So it has a tiny bit of like that dry bitterness that isn't unpleasant. Because bitter isn't always a bad thing. It goes good with the wood, and it goes good with the pepper. So it is there. It's mostly in the finish. And it's a very enjoyable cigar. I mean, it's been burning perfectly. I haven't touched it up at all with the flame. I lit it once in the beginning. This is the second ash that's coming up. Nice and straight. You can see the burn line right there. I haven't touched it. Slid the band right down. And it's really good. It's no problems with the airflow. I've been getting a ton of smoke from the beginning to end. It hasn't been tight at all. It's not loose either. The smoke isn't like really thin. It's nice and thick. And it's been very consistent. Another thing I want to do, maybe try out, I know I have some viewers that are from Spain that speak Spanish. I'm going to try to speak Spanish for them as well. Para los que hablan castellano, tiene un sabor a madera, a cedro, como un cedro seco, pero bien potente. Pero a mí me encanta, sabe, este puro está delicioso. Tiene el sabor a cedro seco, una madera cedro, un poco de pimienta negro seco, pero bien poquito, por si no le gusta, todavía lo puede fumar porque casi no está. Está ahí como bien bajito, no muy fuerte. La pimienta negra, un poquito de café, como un café natural, un poquito agrio, pero no malo, va bien. Va muy bien con la madera y con la pimienta. Ahí mezclados van muy bien. Bien baratito, se ve bello. El anillo está bien bonito. Y por el precio, algo similar te cuesta el cuádruple de 20 veces más. No sé si lo tienen en Europa, en Sudamérica, no sé, pero si están por Miami, esto cuesta menos de $7. Vale la pena, en mi opinión. Me encanta. Y no, todo bien, me encantó. Si tienen pregunta, sin pena me lo ponen ahí en los comments. Si quieren algo particular que para probar, que yo haga un video, me lo ponen ahí. Y si lo encuentro, hago un video. So, very consistent. Very, very nice. Very enjoyable cigar. At the end of the day, that's what matters the most. Sometimes it might not be your favorite, the flavor profile you love, but nonetheless, it's an enjoyable cigar. And like I said, I don't really, when I'm picking a cigar, I don't really go on the flavor profile because again, some companies or it might just be my own palate. They'll describe a certain flavor profile, and what I'll get is different from what's advertised. And I'm sure you guys are the same. So I go basically for the construction. You know, sometimes every now and again, some cigars are a bit messed up in packaging or something. So you want to get the good one. Make sure it's not completely dried out, because that is common. In some cigar places where they do other things, or that cigars aren't their main focus. They have some of their cigars are neglected. And cigars can get ruined, and sometimes it's just they don't notice or it's beyond their control. So mostly it's a construction, and if it's something that I know, that is, for example, if I see AJ Fernandez on it, that already is going to stand out from the rest because it's tested and it's tried, and he's passed all the tests. He knows what he's doing, and he's built a name for himself. So if it's AJ Fernandez, some of the big brands, and if it's something new that it doesn't have that, I'll see the construction. And I'm not gonna lie, I like the bands. You have that trope, especially here in Miami, where the culture is very different from the rest of the US, where people buy based on the band. And because you meet a lot of people in industry here, and it's kind of their bane. They're not crazy about that because they'll have the perfect cigar and it won't sell because the band isn't nice. Completely different culture in Europe, different culture in South America, different culture in other states. But in Miami, it's very much dependent on the band. And like I said, there's great cigars with not so beautiful bands, and vice versa. But I do enjoy a nice band. I like it. I like the aesthetics of it, the whole package. And I'll try anything once. Any of these cigars, even if they tell me it has a ton of pepper, I'll try it. I always give them a chance. I actually give every cigar 2 chances, just in case. Because it's hard for every single cigar, even in the same line, to be completely consistent with each other. It's very difficult. You'll get a very close experience, but they won't be the exact same experience. It also depends on when you bring them home. I always recommend, if you're going to try a cigar for the first time, if you're judging it based on you buying it directly from the store, from their humidor, then that's not a fair judgment, because it's very hard to keep thinking about it. They have dozens, scores, hundreds of boxes, thousands of cigars in the store, in a giant open humidor basically. It's hard to maintain them all right. And then not only that, but you have your own preference, your own taste, and how you want to keep them in your own humidor, at your own temperature, your own humidity. Even the cigars you keep them next to, they kind of like lend each other the flavors. They kind of meld together. For example, if you put 30 different types of cigars in the same humidor, they're gonna kind of rub off on each other in a sense, especially if they're there for a long time. So that's why, if you want the full experience, and judge the cigar fairly, bring it home, leave it in your humidor for a month or two. And that way you really see, you let it acclimate and be, get it in the right way to be smoked. Because that's happened to me many times, and you'll see people that they try the cigar at the lounge, and the people who know, they'll tell you, I love this cigar, but I don't smoke it when I go to a lounge. I have to put it I have to take it home for a month or two, even a couple weeks. So always, if you want to judge a cigar, you want to see if you like it, take it home and let it acclimate for a while, at least 2-3 weeks in your humidor. Because chances are they're either most likely going to be dry, a bit too dry, straight out of the lounge, straight out of the store, or whether you get it from the mail, you want to let it acclimate for a while. So now what you're getting right away, you still get the wood, You get the pepper, real nice and dry. Doesn't hit you in the face. No sensation in your mouth. You know, you don't get that burning. You just get the nice flavor. And in the residuals, you know, you get your nice dry wood, and you get the bitter coffee, which is real nice. That goes together really good. As you can see, real nice thick smoke. It's really, really pleasant flavor. And it is distinct. It has something that I just can't. There's something that you can't. All the flavors combined in their own intensity. It's really nice. Like I said, the pricing is very competitive, and it looks like something that's, you know, aesthetically, it looks like the presentation, like it could easily be sold for a lot more. I took off the band. You can see it in all its glory. Real nice. And full disclosure, if I'm sponsored by somebody, if somebody gives me a cigar, I'm gonna tell you guys right off the bat. And even when the sponsorships come and I do events, full honesty. If I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you. I promise you that. It's so these guys. I'm not. Nothing to do with AJ Fernandez. I'm not sponsored. But the day I do have one, I'm gonna tell you guys right off the bat. I'm gonna be 100% honest. If I don't like it, I'm gonna tell you. It's got the nice signature inside. A lot of detail for a $7 cigar. Not even $7. MSRP is like $6.70 something for the Toro. And you guys saw that was it's a big stick. Look how much smoke I get. That's really nice. One of the biggest the things I look for, not so much even in flavor, is to have that thick smoke. I really don't like when it's very thin, you barely get anything. And it goes hand in hand with a tight draw. You know, you'll have a tight draw, you barely get anything out of it. But sometimes the draw is fine. The smoke is very thin, very airy, and it's like you're not smoking anything. You'll get the flavor, but it's not the same. I like it when you get a ton of thick, voluminous smoke. You see that like stark white. That if you're like in your car or in a room, you'll see it just fill the space. I really like that, the thick smoke. And this has it for sure. Great cigar. The smoke so far has been very room temperature. Tiny bit to the hot side, but that's fine. I mean, that's how cigars should be. You know, it's not very hot, which is good. It's not burning. Don't have that sensation. That's another thing. Usually when you get the pepper, you get the burning. Some people like it. I personally, I don't hate it, but I don't look for it. But this, you don't get any. The only residuals you get is the flavor. It's that dry wood. The pepper's kind of gone in the residual. It kind of just hits you in the front when you take it in. Then it's gone and you see the wood. The wood and the coffee comes up. The coffee comes up and you get the wood. Very nice. And the secondhand smoke too is very, very, very aromatic, very pleasant. Now you see that? Very nice. And it's a steal, honestly. That's a very good price, very competitive. Very, very good. And I'm talking MSRP again, because you can't really compare a mega online company to your mom and pop brick and mortar shop, your local store. They can't compete. But I'm talking straight up MSRP, the full price, the retail is very good. So if you get this discounted at all, I'd give it a shot. Very consistent. So far it has yet to change. Very, very consistent. No smoke problems. Haven't had to retouch it. You can see the burn line. I'll end it here so it's not so long. And in the summary I'll write a brief sentence or two to let you guys know how the nub was. I know some of you guys like to smoke it all the way to the nub. And Yeah, so far very consistent. I'm not going to rate it. I don't want to do that. I want to stay away from that because it's hard for it to be fair. Just because the second one might be better than the first, you know, it's just hard to have consistency with if you put a number to it, you know. But so far very enjoyable. I'd buy it again. I'd smoke it again. I'd recommend it to people. And if you do want to build up your palate, this is a good way to start off with pepper because it's almost not even there. So if you can pick it up, you know, you know, that's good. It's a good sign. And especially if you want to taste wood, if you want to get acclimated or familiar with that flavor, I would get this. Solid wood flavor, very nice. Alright guys, so next time, again, if you have any requests, leave a comment. And I'll basically see whatever is the most popular. And even if they're not, I'll write them down and see in what order I'll be doing the requests. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to make a video on something particular, if you have a question, don't worry about it, just put it on there. And until next time, thanks guys.